Hi, I'm Richard from Early Retirement Wanderlust. We are just about to set off on a 4-week road trip to the French Alps skiing, and in this video I want to talk about snow chains, the what, the why and the how of dealing with snow chains in the mountains. When I first started driving to the Alps, one of the things that worried me the most was the use of snow chains, driving in snow, and all things to do with mountainous conditions. And actually, it's pretty straightforward. But from experience, there's not a massive amount of information out there. And one of the big things that I wanted to know was, when do you use snow chains, and actually how do you use them? It's not that complicated. So in this video, I want to go through the what, the why and the how we use snow chains in the mountains. So first of all, what are snow chains? Well, they are an additional piece of equipment that you need for when you are driving in the Alps. They're not too expensive. I picked these up for under £50 off Amazon. The only thing that you have to do is make sure that they are appropriate for the tyre size that you have on your van. And talking about tyres, it's not enough to have summer tyres when you are going to the Alps in winter, and you've got two options. You've got all-season tyres or winter tyres. Now, we've chosen all-season tyres because they still have the three-peak mountain snowflake symbol on it, and that is the European standard and the expectation for driving in the mountains. So these will get us so far, but obviously, in winter conditions, they change really quickly, and it is obligatory in many of the alpine areas to carry snow chains with you. So as I said, snow chains are available from Amazon in the UK, and they do come really quickly. And the other option is you can get these exact same snow chains from supermarkets on the continent, but it tends to be just in the mountain areas, and I never felt comfortable traveling to the mountain areas actually without snow chains with me. On to the next question of why do we need snow chains? Well, first of all, it is law in many alpine areas, so you can be stopped by the police and you need to be able to show that you have got snow chains with you, and certainly there will be roadblocks in winter conditions going up the mountains, so they will not allow you to go up the mountain passes without being in possession of snow chains. Secondly, it's just a matter of safety. You cannot believe how much extra security snow chains provide you in snowy conditions, and it's just really reassuring to have them. We've had to use them on a number of occasions driving to the high French alpine resorts, and it is just really reassuring to know that you've got that extra layer of grip onto the road. In the alpine areas, they are really good at clearing the roads, but you cannot rely on that, and there are some quite unique little intricacies of the French system. So for instance, we know that the mayor of Val d'Isère likes the vision of white roads. So even though they will try and keep on top of the roads in the village are crystal white, and they are also lethal to drive on. So you may well be able to get up to the village, but then you can't actually get around the village. So you might need snow chains there. Conditions in the mountains change so quickly, and particularly on transfer days when there's a lot of traffic on the road, you can set off in beautiful spring-like conditions, and then in a matter of a few miles you can be into just blizzard conditions. So you do need to be prepared no matter what the conditions down in the valley are like. In terms of how, the first thing you need to do is make sure that you've got snow chains that fit your tyres, and it's relatively straightforward. If you get your tyre size from the sidewalls of your tyres and then look it up on the tables that are available at any of the retailers, you can check that you get the correct size snow chains for your particular tyres. So the first obvious thing to check is that you are putting the snow chains on the correct wheels. They have to be the driving wheels, so in the case of the VWT6 it is the front wheels. However, certainly in Val d'Isère we took great delight in watching rear-wheel drive very expensive cars have snow chains put on the front tyres, which would obviously provide no additional grip. So make sure that they are on the drivetrain wheels. When you get the snow chains out of the box, they are a very, very complicated mess and tangle. The best way to think about it is that you have got a steel cord that is used on the inside of the tyres. You then have a series of silver chains that are hanging down and they grip over the surface of the tyre. And then at the bottom you have got, in this case, some green chains that are actually used to tension the outside of the wheel, and that's what gives you the tension, and that's what tightens the whole chain mechanism around the tyres. As well as the snow chains, I would also suggest that you take a few more bits of kit with you for putting them on in the mountains, because inevitably it is going to be dark, it's going to be wet, it's going to be snowy, and you are going to want to stay comfortable when you're putting the snow chains on. So first, I always bring a little bit of a mat to kneel on. Obviously Jackie has mentioned in our previous video that she got me a snow shovel, which means that you can dig the tyres out if you've been parked. Always some gloves, and gloves that you don't particularly care about because they're going to get very wet and muddy, and just protect your hands a little bit. A scraper is always useful because the inside of the wheel arches sometimes fill up and you can't always get the snow shovel into there. And then a plastic bag, which is really good for keeping your knees dry, but also is really good when you take the chains off. You really don't want to be squeezing them back into their box, so just chuck everything in a bag and sort it out when you get to warmer conditions. Okay, here we go. Always best to have a little practice before we disappear off to the Alps, so hopefully this will go well. First things first is to try and untangle the snow chains, so you've got it so that you've got your inner steel cord with everything hanging off there. And then you've got a little clasp here that allows you to undo the steel cord. And what we're actually going to do is we're going to loop that back together, but behind the wheel. So first thing we've got to do is unconnect it, send this orange area through, and then I'm going to be connecting this back together, but I've got to do it behind the tyre. And then it's a matter of just bringing the chains around the surface of the tyre. So now we've got the steel wire connected at the back, we've got the chains centered around the tyre, and it's the silver chains that we want to be over the surface of the tyre, and then it's a matter of connecting up the green chain which sits on the outside. So what we've got to do now is tension the whole system up together using the green outer chains and this rubberized tensioning system. So the red chain goes through this free throw locking system that will allow it to give tension. We then go through one of these retainers and then use a little bit of tension on the rubber to fasten there. So in summary, what we've got is we have the steel cable on the inside of the tyre, we have the silver grip chains that fit down the centre of the tyre, and it's only the silver gripping chains that are actually on the surface of the tyre, and then we have this outer system that tensions the whole thing up. One of the things to do once you've fitted both sets of snow chains is to just roll the car forward and not drive too far, to just check that the tensioning is in place, because the last thing you would want is that tension system to give way and chains to start flailing around the wheel arches. The other thing you've got to be really considerate of when you are driving with chains on is make sure that you don't go too fast, because you are still driving on snow. It is still really dangerous. The snow chains are just giving you a little bit of extra grip. So then when you get out of the snow zone and you feel that it is safe to take the chains off, it's quite a messy job. Here it's lovely and dry, though I am still reasonably messed up, and it is just the reverse of what we did previously. So the first thing we do is untension on the rubberized system, unhook and unclip from the ratchet. We've then got to be able to break this outer tensioning system at the red connector. The hardest thing is to find the connector to the steel cord that's on the inside. It does get really messy. I'm hoping it's not going to be too bad this time. And then just reach through disconnect, straighten everything out, and then we bring our chains round. And again, it's probably a good idea to fasten it up, and you've got the chains in a nice, clean, orderly way. So I hope you found this little video of use, and it comes in useful for if you are ever having to use snow chains or considering using snow chains. As I said, it's always good to practice back in the relative warmth of the UK before you have to use them on a mountainside. It's nothing too complicated to do. If I can do it, I think anyone can do it. I'm no expert at this. It's just something that I've learned along the way, and hopefully this video has helped you in some way. Thanks ever so much. Bye.